For decades, we've been told a story about crashed alien technology, a story that's been carefully managed, hidden in the shadows. But what if the official story, the one that kicks off with Roswell, what if that's just a distraction? The source material we're going to break down today suggests there's a secret history, one that's way older and, frankly, far more unsettling than you can probably imagine.
I mean, really think about that for a second. This one question, it changes absolutely everything. The source we're looking at today argues that the secret race to capture this technology didn't start in the New Mexico desert in '47. Nope. It started decades earlier, and it kicked off a shadow war that's been playing out ever since. We all know the story, right? Some strange object falls out of the sky near Roswell, New Mexico. It's become the bedrock of UFO lore, the ground zero for this entire phenomenon. It's the story we've all been told. But this source, it tells a totally different story. It paints a picture of a covert technological arms race that's been raging in total secrecy for over 80 years, long before anyone had even heard the word Roswell. So, let's peel back the layers here. The information in our source material suggests that the official timeline isn't just a little wrong, it's off by decades. It's time to look at the hidden history that's been kept under lock and key. Okay, just look at this timeline. This completely upends the history we thought we knew. The source points to a photograph from the 1920s, that's right, the Roaring Twenties, that experts have apparently analyzed and say shows a non-human being. Then you jump to 1941, a full 6 years before Roswell, and there's a documented crash retrieval in Missouri. And then when we finally get to Roswell, the story is even crazier. The claim is that a new, high-powered radar system accidentally brought down not one but 3 separate craft at the same time. And here's the thing. According to the source, these events weren't just random accidents. When you start to analyze what was actually being pulled from these wreckages, a really clear and consistent pattern of otherworldly technology starts to take shape. So try to picture this. You're standing there looking at one of these recovered objects. It's got this perfectly smooth, almost liquid-like metal skin. There are no seams, no rivets, no visible door, no way to get inside. The source is filled with testimony from engineers who said their most powerful drills couldn't even scratch the surface. All right, now this is where it goes completely off the rails. A witness to the Roswell event apparently described watching the damaged craft actively repair itself. The metal was flowing back together, almost like a healing wound. The source calls this nanobiology. In other words, the craft itself was basically a living, self-healing machine. And just when you think it can't get any weirder, it does. Get this. The source describes an incident at Norton Air Force Base with a craft that was maybe 30 feet wide on the outside. But when they got inside, they found a space that was bigger than a football field. This is what the source calls the plasticity of space-time, the ability to literally bend space and time to create these impossible dimensions. So that brings up the big question, right? If this tech was so unbelievably advanced, how in the world did we ever get our hands on any of it? Well, the answer, according to this source, is an 80-year secret arms race to find and exploit one single critical weakness. And here it is, the key. These craft, they don't have engines or jets. They are, for all intents and purposes, purely electromagnetic phenomena. And while that makes them incredibly powerful, it's also their fatal flaw. You hit them with a strong enough electromagnetic field, and you can scramble their systems. And with no wings to glide on, they just, as one insider put it, drop like a rock. This slide shows the terrifying evolution of this technology. It starts out pretty crude in the 40s, just repurposing powerful radar systems as energy weapons. By the 60s, they're coordinating these ground-based weapons with tracking satellites. Then in the 70s, a huge breakthrough, neutrino light detectors that can apparently spot a craft the very instant it materializes in our dimension. And now, today, the source makes its most incredible claim yet, that specially trained people, P3 operators, can use a form of weaponized consciousness to mentally hack and disable these craft. So, what does this all mean? The implications of this 80-year secret arms race are, well, they're almost too big to fully comprehend. We're not just talking about cool new gadgets here. We're talking about a fundamental shift in the balance of power for the entire planet. According to the source, the group that controls this technology isn't American or Russian or Chinese. It's a transnational entity that answers to no one, not to presidents, not to prime ministers, not to us. With this kind of tech, borders and laws are meaningless. They operate in the shadows, completely untouchable.
And to really get your head around the kind of power we're talking about, look at this number. The source estimates that after 80 years of reverse engineering this stuff, this secret group is somewhere between 5 and 10,000 years ahead of the rest of us. That's not a technology gap. It's a civilizational chasm. It's a hidden power that operates on a level we can barely even imagine. And this really gets to the heart of it all. This quote from the source materials says it perfectly. The technology itself isn't good or evil. It could save our world, or it could be used to control or even destroy it. The real question, the one that should keep all of us awake at night, is about the consciousness, the intent of the people who now hold this unimaginable power.
So that's the story the source lays out. A hidden history, a secret arms race, and a rogue power holding the keys to all of our futures. The real question isn't just what happens next. It's who gets to decide what happens next. And after 80 years of total secrecy, the answer to that question might be more terrifying than any of us are prepared to face.